rotting driftwood on the foreign shores, spilling out into the ocean floor, and the memories all you've left without a trace. Paralyzed with the thoughts receding, current sweeps you with the silent bleeding through the heart into the darkest place. Well, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. You see the ground as it bleeds in the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. All the secrets that you're holding, all the memories you hide, all the frail thoughts that echo in the corners of your mind, they won't even last a moment. They will soon be swept away when the ocean takes you in its arms and carries you away. You carry all your burdens on the cross around your neck. You take whatever's left that you could salvage from the wreck, and the hard past will follow you like a lost dog on the beach, nipping at your trail till you've drifted out of reach. Yeah, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. See the ground as it bleeds to the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. In the broken line horizon, in the castles made of sand, you tried to hold it in your hands, you tried to understand it. The ocean asks the questions, and it holds the answers too. It dissolves away the lies about the things you thought you knew.
Hello, my friends. 'Tis I, Dame Armiger Calhirania. My heart and my sword are yours. And 'tis I, Adulath Karakai II, bastard son of a real bastard. Your hearts are mine. And we are joined once again by the lovely John Whitehead, aka BloodRedTiger. Hello, my old friend.
Good afternoon, or insert time period as appropriate.
Right. So we took last week off because you were once again gallivanting about with the girlfriend. Yes. What was the last week's trip all about?
We went to Cornwall, and I made a 74-year-old man play Beat Saber.
Oh my gosh!
Gone too. That was terrifying. We were all cringing for our lives.
What happened?
Like, Dave, stay still. Stop moving.
What? Okay, so all right, you're gonna have to tell the whole story here. How did this come about, and what happened?
This is the third time he's played on a quest, and he loves it. It's remarkable how well physical skills translate into VR games. I took it to show him walkabout mini golf. He's good at putting. He was instantly good at the game.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And bait, which is like a fly fishing game. He's an angler, so there's a trick with holding the trigger and then letting go while you flick it. And he explained, no, you have to hold the string, and when you flick it, you let go. Right, so the line, not the string. He would frown at me. So he was immediately good at that.
Okay. Well, it means that the game is a particularly good simulation. Like, if the game mechanics are a poor map to reality, it wouldn't work. But if the game is well made in that way and emulates clearly, then that's cool.
Well, the table tennis game, he can play it, I can't. So that's right, because I am absolutely incapable of playing ping pong. I just can't. So, yeah, that was a waste of 11 quid, but there you go.
But Beat Saber then, had he played Beat Saber before?
He's played Beat Saber before, yes.
Okay. Now, is this a relative of yours or friend, somebody you were going to visit?
He's the husband of my partner's friend. So we went down to visit because her birthday. And, yeah.
Oh, fun.
So they're older than us. Dave's 74. But that's fun.
All right.
But yeah, I've said, try this. Go on, you got to duff people up. All right. So they start swinging these punches around. It's like, Dave, don't move. Stay still.
Oh, no.
It's like, I want to leave the room, but I can't get past or I'll die.
Oh, gosh. Well, it sounds like that trip was a little less beset by misfortune than your previous outing the couple weeks before.
Yeah, no, everything we wanted to do, we got done. It was good.
Well, I was also... Well, I didn't really go out and about last week, but yesterday was a short kind of day trip. Moth and I went out to meet several friends at Lake Michigan. It was the first that I had been out swimming in I don't know how many years. I am trying to think of the last time I had immersed myself in water, and I could not tell you. I think I took a dip in a pool sometime since I moved to this part of the country, maybe, but maybe not even. I always, okay, as a teenager, I did some swimming. But anyway, it's been a long time for various reasons. I suppose I had that kind of classic eggy phenomenon of not being entirely comfortable in my body in a swimsuit. But now we're good. Like, Moth had gotten the both of us brand new swimsuits, and we went out to meet Manny and fair partner Rabbit, whom we had met on several occasions before, and new acquaintances Yuzu Adagio, another fellow streamer, and her spouse Scalpel, who also moderates her channel on Twitch. And it was a lovely little meetup. Now, don't forget to mention the most important part. Yes. Many were wearing a very lovely bikini, yes. It was a delight. Good girl. Yeah, that. So, Sunnydale Imp, yes. We are on chapter 28. Gosh, it having been a couple of weeks, I need to refresh myself a bit on what was going on. I know that the vampire coterie that has suffered a defeat at Mickey's hands. She murdered some of their minions and sent the rest of them injured and packing when they tried to ambush her with holy water spray guns. That was a couple of sessions back. What? Oh, right, okay. Last time we had...
There was the water gun ambush.
Yeah. And so she hung out with...
She smushed all the frat boys. She gave Sheridan a double kebab treatment. two swords through her and then left her on the floor. And then drained some of Keats's magic.
Right.
Which isn't spellcasting magic, it's the magic that keeps him up and moving magic.
Yes.
He was not best pleased. After that, she spent the night at Cordy's place after getting rescued off the street.
Right.
And then, in the morning, she hitched a ride on top of Buffy's mum's car to the shop.
That's how she ended up out at the grocery store, right? The supermarket.
Giles ran out there to pick her up, and in the process, we got some flashbacks of Mickey and Cordy refining Mickey's backstory.
Right. Okay. Right. She's from
Moldova
now.
Because it sounds like mold.
Right. Speaking of which, yeah, you did some revisions to that chapter to remove the explicit references to the Hellmouth. We want to keep Mickey in the dark about the name and nature of that as a bit.
There's absolutely no good reason for it.
It's just something you wanted to do in the story, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so...
and also Joyce has invited Mickey to come round for a meal.
Ah, yes. Okay, we're going to have a pleasant dinner at the Summers residence where, yeah, everybody will be normal and there will be casserole and then the folks will go home and forget about it all the next day. Okay. But first, we have Chapter 28. Is it a game? It sounds like a game. Summary, dodgeball. Okay. Alright. And yeah, if my voice is scratchy or I have to clear my throat, etc., yesterday was a lot of exercise. I'm a little bit still slightly worn down. I will do my best, though, as ever.
A fair warning, also, there's no guys in this chapter. So this is all you.
Well, I'll just sit back and enjoy, I suppose, as I usually do. Alright, here we are. Giles dropped Makisha off at the school gates and went back home. He rather wished Joyce hadn't invited the devil girl around for a meal without consulting Buffy, but the Slayer's home life was largely out of his control. Makisha had promised to give Buffy the good news as soon as possible, but Giles nonetheless planned to warn her himself when he returned to the school, preferably after a good few hours of sleep. Hopefully, the place would still be standing. Mickey switched her outfit to something more school-compatible as she walked up the front steps. A short dress of pale gray with a red leather belt, and a small jacket of matte black, velvety-looking material. She gave a happy little twirl as she pushed the doors open, but nobody was around to admire her dramatic entrance. She frowned. Everybody was in class, so the corridors were empty, but the school wasn't exactly quiet. She could hear the muted background hubbub of education happening, of several hundred boisterous kids being penned in and forced to learn. It didn't seem fair to the kids, but only because most of them were too stupid to recognize the power they were being given. Jack always said that knowledge was power. Not the same power as Mickey could pull out of the local big badness, but it was useful all the same, and she wanted it. Plus, they were giving it away, for free. Unfortunately, she'd already missed out on the first lesson of the day, since classes had started without her. She didn't think she'd get in any trouble for that, as none of the teachers were particularly expecting her to show up. The only person with any real interest in her class schedule would be Willow, who was probably glad to have a day off from her unexpected tutoring job. Then again, Mickey didn't want the redhead to get in trouble. She seemed a bit fragile, and more than a little scared of Snyder. Mickey had decided to go track her down. Checking all the classrooms would be a chore, and she hadn't even found all the rooms yet. But she figured the staff must have a record of who was supposed to be in each classroom at any given time. She didn't want to ask Snyder, no sense getting him involved, but his assistant might know. Mrs. Tate watched warily as the weird new kid crawled into view. There was something disturbing about the bright-eyed, chirpy little girl, and it wasn't just her apparent friendship with Snyder, which was creepy in a whole different way she couldn't put a finger on. Snyder didn't care about the students. His only interests were discipline and order, things his exchange student disrupted at every turn. Like right now, for instance. She arrived late, skipping classes, and now she was wandering the classrooms, bobbing in and out of classes at whim. Weirder still, she seemed to have some genuine affection toward Snyder, which was unheard of. To the best of her knowledge, the stunted little troll had never had any friends, even as a youngster. The girl skipped over to the desk and gave her a big smile. "Hi, Mrs. Tate. How's it going?" It's sort of hilarious how they managed to get Snyder in the show, considering that he's literally a fascist and makes no move at all to hide it. Why would that be an impediment to putting him on a TV show? Isn't that kind of the idea of the character? Or are you saying that Armin Shimmerman is a fascist, which would be news to me? Good morning, Mikisha. I'm very well, thank you. What a nice, normal kid, she thought. So sunny and friendly. It was nice that Snyder had finally made a friend, however mismatched, and maybe she would change his attitude to the students? Yes, but he was a human authority figure in a school in the 90s? I'm missing the implication. There's all sorts of human authority figures in schools in the 90s. That is a thing that one would want to portray on a TV show about a school in the 90s? I'm really missing what you're after here, Rain. Not picking up what you're putting down. I'm supposed to be studying with Willow, but I lost my class schedule thingy, and I haven't been able to find her. Do you know which classes she should be in? I can certainly check for you, replied the woman, fingers dancing over her computer keyboard. A few deft clicks of the mouse, and she located the class schedule for Rosenberg W. We're just coming to the end of first period, so you may as well run ahead and meet her for PE. They could be fantastical evil, but not really mundane evil? Like, could be according to what rules? Like, it's not like this was the only television show that portrayed a jerkish school principal. I mean, right? I guess I didn't watch a ton of that style of TV, but there were other, like, high school kid shows during that period, right? And they weren't all fantastical. Did they just exclude showing the principals? Like, I'm totally missing what... Like, it feels like you're in on some joke or cultural taboo that I am completely unaware of, Rain. Was it like school principals and authority figures needed to be portrayed in a positive light? What? I don't get it. Ah, okay. So it's all right. I see. So it's just that it was unusually outright or explicit or bald-faced for the screenwriting of the time. Okay. I don't. Yeah. All right. It might. Yeah. Okay. I guess I see what you're going for. I don't. I wonder if that actually set off any reaction, though. It might have been just a sort of custom of the writing at the time, but it wasn't like so taboo that anybody was going to go after Joss Whedon about it. Yeah. PE? That's great. I love PE. Mrs. Tate turned her attention back to the computer and closed the class schedules. Do you know where the sports hall is? She asked. Yeah, thanks. Bye. The girl spun on a heel and ran away. No running in the corridor. Mrs. Tate leaned forward to see if the girl was going to stop. They seldom did, but to her surprise, the corridor was empty. She stood and scratched her head for a moment, trying to figure out what had happened. It didn't take that long to close a spreadsheet, surely. Turning to look the other way, she saw Ms. Callender standing by the copier with a stack of papers. She had a thoughtful look on her face, too, looking down the way Makisha had just run. The two women exchanged glances. What a strange little girl, commented Mrs. Tate. Miss Griggs was lurking in her office reading a magazine when the new kid turned up. She heard the chatter in the staff room, and she was determined to find out what the academics were so nervous about. In her eyes, any friend of Snyder was obviously dodgy by association. Like, maybe she had family connections or something? Griggs looked over the scrawny little brat and resolved there and then to make the kid's life hell. She could be wrong. The kid probably wasn't related to Snyder at all, but what the hell, right? Mickey knocked quietly on the office's open door, meeting the teacher's predatory stare with an easy smile. Hi there, she began. I'm Makisha Nichols, the exchange student. I'm here to do PE with the others. Sure. Go change. Class starts in 15 minutes. Okay. She ducked into the changing rooms and found them empty, which suited her fine. She magically switched her clothes for a manifested copy of the coach's gray jog pants and dark red t-shirt, grudgingly exchanging her boots for some sports-appropriate trainers. The red shirt had a curve of blobby yellow shapes across the boobs that she suspected was meant to be writing, so she spent a little while trying to make them into something readable. That done, she sat down to wait, and soon enough the other kids started to trickle in. She got a few stares, a smile or two, but most ignored her as they hurriedly changed into their PE gear. Mickey felt a small surge of relief when Buffy and Willow arrived, and jogged over to greet them. I'm gonna do PE with you guys. Buffy looked a bit frowny, but Willow gave her a big hug. We were so worried. Last night we thought you were dead, and then this morning, She leaned back and looked down at Mickey's shirt. What's a Smyrmidile? Before Mickey could reply, Buffy cut in with a question of her own. What were you doing on my mom's car? Oh, that. I hitched a ride to the store. Uh-huh. How did you know that's where she was going? I didn't really, but it was a fun ride. You should try it. Buffy just kept on glaring, so Mickey decided she might as well come out with the good news. Your mom invited me around for a meal, by the way, tonight. She said it was your idea. She did what? She saw you? Did you use your illusion thing on her? The imp blinked. Of course I used it. I can't just go turning it off in public. Everybody would freak out. The girls realized that everybody else was nearly ready for class and hastily began stripping down to their undies. Mickey observed with professional detachment, interested to see what sort of things her friends wore and how they compared to Cordelia's selection. Buffy pulled on a pair of shorts and glanced up at Mickey. She didn't seem to have calmed down much. If I find out you mind-controlled my mom, or did something to influence her somehow... Mickey rolled her eyes. That only works on boys. Buffy's eyes narrowed even further to slits. You can mind-control boys? She hissed. Willow finished pulling on a baggy t-shirt, and her eyes, in contrast, were wide with panic. Have you done that to Xander? Is that why Snyder likes you? Not mind control, jeez. I just mean I can influence boys by smiling and listening and being pretty and saying nice things. She shrugged. Everybody does it, right? Buffy pulled a face. You mean flirting? Oh God, please tell me that's not why Snyder likes you. Snyder likes me because I show him the respect he wants. Willow gaped. But, I show respect. Lots of respect. He's horrible to me. You're scared of him, though. Maybe he... Wait a minute. You're scared of him, though. Maybe he has to respect you back. Buffy narrowed her eyes. I'm not scared of him. And he sure doesn't like me. Mickey shrugged, out of ideas. I guess he's just a bit complicated then. He says you're a troublemaker, and he hates you for it. But he likes me, and I'm an actual imp. Nobody makes trouble like an imp. Besides, I'm the protagonist. People like the protagonist. Oh, wait. If only he knew. Yeah. I'm trying to be good, though. She gave Buffy a sullen look. I just need people to give me a break. Miss Griggs blew the whistle, and a couple dozen girls filed out into the sports hall. There was a low groan as those at the front spotted the familiar red balls on the bench. Oh no, dodgeball? Really? Ignorant of Earth culture, Mickey was predictably excited. Is it a game? It sounds like a game. Willow shook her head. She wasn't a fan, for obvious reasons. Dodgeball is just throwing a ball at each other, and oh dear, I think I know what's going on here. Miss Griggs blew her whistle again and pointed a finger as the group thinned out. You, new kid, front and center. What? Get over here. She pointed out a spot some way in front of the others, and Mickey happily trotted over. The butch teacher eyed the girl's outfit with a considered frown, but seemed lost for something to say about it. They ever played dodgeball in Europe? She asked instead. Mickey shrugged. I don't think so. Figures. Well, here's the rules. 4 on 4. If you have a ball, you throw it at somebody on the other team. You get hit by a ball, you're out. You cross the line, you're out. You throw a ball and somebody catches it, you're out. With me so far?" The imp nodded, eyes wide. "Sure. Sounds like fun." "Right. Last thing, no headshots. If you throw and hit somebody above the shoulders, it's a foul ball. You're out, they're not. Is that clear?" She turned her glare back to the other kids and got a slow grumble of affirmatives. "Eh? Everything seems to be going through clean for me." Okay. Okay. You. Your team 1. You, and the new kid, team 2. Let's go. Hustle. She blew a long blast, her whistle. Proofread time. And the kids grudgingly moved into position at either side of the room, one hand touching the wall. Mickey did the same, oblivious to the pain to come. Okay. Buffy sighed as she was selected for Team 1, along with 3 of the larger, more vicious dodgeball players. Miss Griggs wasn't being subtle with her cruelty, and Buffy wondered what the imp had done to earn this particular treatment. Normally, a situation like this would be a good chance to get a bead on the diminutive devil's reflexes and reaction speed, but Buffy had already fought the girl and learned a lot. Mickey could hold her own against a slayer's best efforts, so she had nothing to fear from a rubber dodgeball. Miss Griggs raised her whistle to start the mayhem, but was interrupted by Mickey raising a hand. "Mrs. Coach Lady, I have a question." "Out with it." "Are we best dodging the ball or catching it?" The coach bared her teeth in a grin. "The game's called dodgeball, sweetheart. Just try not to get hurt." Dodging was generally considered the easier option, but catching would take the thrower out of the game, so it wasn't a stupid question by any means. But Mickey just nodded. "Okay." Buffy spotted several spectators eyeing the girl hungrily, keen to see the new kid get clobbered, but she also noticed a few pairs of eyes watching herself. "Summers absolutely rocks at dodgeball," muttered one girl. "She's freaky good." "Tough break for the new kid," replied another. Buffy grimaced. She was always careful to keep her abilities under wraps, but something about the predatory nature of the game made her a slave to her instincts, and apparently people had noticed, not least being Miss Griggs. Buffy decided she'd need to be more careful still, or she might end up press-ganged into one of the sport teams. The whistle blew, and Buffy decided to hang back, watching as kids scrambled for the balls on the ground. Mickey still didn't know how the game worked, so she stood still as the game started around her. One of Buffy's teammates was the first to a ball, and immediately hurled it at the imp. Mickey swayed aside easily. A ball was thrown at Buffy's chest, and she caught it almost without thinking. Griggs blew the whistle, and Clara was sent off, the first casualty, leaving Team 2 with 3 players. Mickey's dark eyes were fixed on the Slayer, well aware that she was the greater threat. Buffy chose to ignore her and instead threw the ball at another girl, but her target was ready for it and sidestepped neatly. The game went on, and Buffy noticed that Mickey was nimbly avoiding all contact with the balls that flew in her direction, making no attempt to pick them up and help her team. Perhaps she was afraid to throw with her full strength. Whatever the reason, the outnumbered team was quickly picked apart. They lost 2 team members in rapid succession, but did manage to take down one of Buffy's team in the process. Jerry tried to dodge, but ran into Lois and got clipped. That left Buffy with Lois and Victoria, facing off against the lone imp. "Oh, hello, Yuzu. Thank you for dropping in. You've got a big stream of your own coming up soon, I am aware, so no problem." Miss Griggs took the whistle out of her mouth, long enough to smirk to the assembled spectators. "This should be over quickly." Mickey had a single ball on her side of the line, but Buffy's team were holding a ball each. Lois gave them a look. On 3, she began. 1, 2, woof! A red ball hit Lois in the gut, and she folded. Buffy reacted and threw, followed by Victoria. Makisha laughed and dived out of the way, turning her landing into a cartwheel. The coach didn't bother blowing the whistle for Lois. She was clearly out of the game, and 2 spectators hurried to help her to get clear. Victoria used the delay to pick up a ball, but immediately passed it to Buffy. Probably embarrassed about that last throw. She was miles out. Buffy had been trying to hide her skills, but Mickey wasn't bothering to do that same, and that just wasn't fair. Buffy didn't want to show off, but that didn't mean she'd let the imp make a fool of her. The Slayer had her target in her sights, as Mickey scooped up a ball of her own, grinning. The imp made some vague gestures at Buffy, a question in her body language that was probably something like, "Should I throw at you or the other girl?" Buffy frowned at that, unsure how to respond. They had a standoff, until Victoria went to pick up the other ball. Mickey's eyes snapped to follow the movement, and Buffy seized the opportunity. She threw hard. Makisha spun aside, dodging the ball and turning her momentum into a throw that struck Victoria in the hip. The ball made its familiar boink sound, and Griggs blew her whistle. "Down to you, Summers." Buffy was well aware of that, was aware of the sudden social pressure, just as she was well aware that Mickey was completely oblivious to the drama and just having a great time playing a game. The Slayer imagined half the audience wanted to humiliate the new kid, while some of them would be rooting for this cheerful stranger to take Buffy down a peg. Buffy herself fell into the former group and knew just how to do it. She smoothly reached out a toe and flipped up ball up to catching height. An instant later it was on its way, hoping to catch the imp as she reached down for her own ball. But Mickey had already made her pickup, and her answering throw was a deflection. Both balls bounced away, and both girls leapt to grab a replacement from the ground. Buffy, closer to her second ball, knew a trick to gain a split-second advantage. She already knew where Mickey was going, and with a flick of the wrist she launched the ball up from ground height. It spun in the air, curving upward to catch the imp in mid-stride. Mickey's reflexes were good, but she hesitated as the ball came toward her. The red rubber missile struck her hard in the forehead and bounced back across the room. Mickey reeled, and Miss Griggs blew 2 long blasts on her whistle. "Summers! Headshot! You're out!" The audience groaned. There was no justice. It was a great shot, thrown almost blind, and would have struck any other kid in the shoulder. But the new kid was freakishly short. Some chanted for a rematch until a glare from the coach silenced them. Griggs was already selecting another 2 teams as Mickey toddled back to the benches. "Did I win?" "Oh, hello, Rhinocorn." Yep, so remember, headshot means no skull for your trophy collection. Okay, so well that was a clever way to avoid answering the question of who is the better dodgeballer. Because really, like, Buffy gets to score a hit that Mickey fails to dodge, but doesn't win the game. So, cleverly written there, John.
Can you imagine if Mickey was allowed to use her powers and just teleport everywhere? It'd be impossible.
Yeah, not exactly. Yeah, not really a fair game or a much of a scene to write. I don't either.
Plus, if Mickey and Buffy were throwing the ball with full strength,
right, you go flying across. Yeah. So, a couple fun things that come to mind from this chapter for me. One is that, like, when I was in school, dodgeball was always the, oh hell yeah, the choice for PE activity because, I don't know, it was easy and entertaining and, like, yeah, like, even the kids who weren't particularly athletic or sporty could have a good time. But I do understand that this is Sunnydale High. There's sort of cruelty and danger built into everything. So I don't know. I wonder if there even are any sports that the whole crew would be like relieved to see trotted out for PE class. Like it didn't pop on the horn. Yeah. Would the ball even survive full strength? The other thing is with the bit with the headshot. So I, for a while, like in college and maybe for off and on a little bit, a couple years after college, I participated in like buffer LARP. And headshots were also disallowed in that.
You have a Buster Sword.
Yeah, the Buster. I never got around to
want to get
really
a
getting the
headshot with that.
right. Wow. Yeah, I never got around to making a buffer legal Buster Sword. I had some pretty big weapons, but not a replica. I wanted to, but it was quite a project, and I never quite got it done. I'm not sure I would have been able to lift the thing effectively either. But in any case, yeah, it wasn't. You didn't get like a foul for it. You weren't penalized for hitting somebody in the head, but it unless you were the referees could like tell you were doing it maliciously or whatever. But it didn't count as a hit on your opponent. And I kept trying to be fancy and duck under attacks, but only ducking low enough to get myself smacked in the head. Which, I mean, I guess it was an effective dodge and then it wasn't a legal shot, but my opponent was like, oh god, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just... I just got...
Deflected it with my face.
Yep, deflected it. Bam, yeah. Wish I'd been better at that when I was playing soccer. That would actually have been impressive. Subtle art of the face block. Wham! Yeah. Okay, so Mickey did end up getting hit in the head, but because Buffy was not using her full strength, it did not knock her unconscious, awake her to the unreality of the world, and turn her into an excrucian whose duty it is to tear down reality and expose the true thing beyond. We'll have to wait for that for another episode. Okay.
What? I was just like, what on earth?
The Fable of the Swan by Jenna Moran. There's a plot point where the protagonist gets hit in the head with a dodgeball and attains enlightenment thereby.
And now you all die.
Yeah. Basically. She doesn't turn out to be very good at destroying the world, though, thankfully.
Luckily, Mickey is tough enough that you could sort of set about her with a baseball bat and she'll just go block, 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 quit it. That's annoying.
Right. Mickey's an imp, differently shaped soul. Oh, okay. Maybe maybe you would need to hit her in a different spot to awaken her to the falsehood that is the world. Maybe right in the rump.
The question of Mickey's soul/souls does come up later. One of them came from a wolf, and the other one came from somewhere else. It was not willingly donated.
Okay. Oh, right, Acorn, you've blocked stuff with your face in martial arts? That sounds very painful. If also discouraged. I don't know what's going on with that either, right, Acorn. Like, Rain came in at 1, but then, yeah, I don't, but then John posted like once and surpassed him. So I have no idea it's not simply a matter of how many times you post. It's some weird algorithmic who knows what.
It's the algorithm.
Yeah. Oh, the excrucian thing requires a particularly shaped soul to work. Mickey doesn't have a hun and po structure. Ah. Is the hitting somebody in the head with a dodgeball a reproducible excrucian awakening? Points are mysterious, yeah.
Could you be awoken twice? Been awoken and I don't like it. Do it again.
Put me back to sleep. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find the VODs of those, because I read that book on stream over on Twitch. I could maybe share that chapter while I'm reading it. Send it your way. Okay, Jenna Moran is also an exalted writer. Used a similar soul metaphysics. Yeah, I don't know how much overlap there was. I mean, I know that all the like Chubos and Nobilis and Glitch, all of that is kind of one great big extended roleplay universe that uses a united cosmology, but yeah, I don't know how much her like creative process flowed over from one property to the other. Yeah, I figured that was a unique thing too, right? I was more joking. Okay, chapter 29. Good number. We can work around that.
We have a new male character.
Ah, okay. So we need to decide who is voicing that one.
He's a sleazy Weasley. Think of him as like a corporate managerial suit.
Well, is there anybody else in this chapter that you would be voicing, John? Like Giles or Xander?
Nope.
Okay, so why don't you take the new person for now?
Is he in this one? Yes, he is in this one. Okie dokie. I shall do Mergon.
It is a fair question since people have tried. Oh, so, okay. So, Jasmine Opossum gets hit in the head with a dodgeball, awakens to her excrucian nature. Other excrucians are like, oh, really? Can you do that? And go around hitting people in the head with dodgeballs to see if it works, and then it doesn't.
You'll think it was something fairly innocuous then. And imagine if you'd been awakened by like somebody shoving scorpions down your top or something.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Well, it's worth a try.
Jeez. If the dodgeball doesn't work, try other balls. Bowling, maybe. Oh no. That's just going around murdering people and just seeing if that'll advance your cause. Oh my god, to the point of manipulating people to have similar backstories to hers, and then attempting to redo her entire school year. Oh my gosh. Yeah, excursions, the Pale Riders, they're interesting folks. And they can do some weird stuff.
Science!
Yes.
Okay, let's find some more spelling mistakes.
Right. Alright, hey, drink real quick. By the way, I realized last time I didn't share a link to the artist of Adwath's new PNG. If you like this colored sketch style that my cohort is sporting here, that is the work of Lyco Rat King, Lyco Rodentia, over on VGen. So, yeah. Mickey watched with rapt fascination as Miss Griggs put the girls through a few more rounds of dodgeball. It was a bit like fighting, and if you imagine the balls were magical projectiles or something, it made the whole thing a lot more interesting. Yeah, that was actually a piece of the buffer LARP that I was in there. That one had magic and stuff, so you would craft these little foam and cloth fireballs and, and hurl them at people. Yeah. She could even excuse the silly no headshots rule. A magic missile would blast somebody's head to bits, and then you couldn't keep the skulls as trophies. It made sense when you thought about it. Willow was the first casualty of the next game, and Mickey beckoned her over to sit. "This is so cool," bubbled Mickey. "I can't believe they let kids do this in school." She noticed Willow's frown and hesitated. "I guess it stops being fun after a while, though, right?" The redhead nodded. "Especially if you're not very good at it." "Doesn't the teacher train you, though? Isn't that the point? Learning to dodge things?" "Dodgeball is mostly about kids hurting each other for the coach's amusement. Also used as punishment or as a way to humiliate a new kid." "Well, that didn't work. I'm not humiliated at all. I won." "But you got hit in the face." "Psh!" The imp dismissed the argument. "Winning is winning. I won, and by the rules too. She'll have to try a lot harder if you want to humiliate me." After the round ended, Miss Griggs lined the girls up and announced that they would be running laps, followed by climbing up a rope. Mickey grinned. Running and climbing were some of her favorite things. "I'm really having a great time. PE class is the best." Within certain, shall we say, specialized circles, Willie's Bar was well known as Sunnydale's premier, demon-friendly drinking establishment. The place was open all day round. The proprietor himself usually available at the bar to offer a sympathetic ear or respectful subservience, depending on the situation. He couldn't be trusted to keep a secret, of course, especially not if the Slayer came knocking, but this was also a well-known fact, and the wiser patrons kept their conversations muted. What is the actual purpose of dodgeball? Can't be, well, it's, I don't know, there's not really a purpose to most sports. It's just a way to entertain a bunch of kids. But yeah, this is not the best for exercise, for sure.
You're not allowed to make them just fight for your amusement.
Yeah.
"This kid annoys me. You, and you. Beat him up."
Yeah. Competition is a means of enticing athleticism, sure, yeah. Yeah, I gotta keep up our warrior culture of shooting things at people to defeat them. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's mostly just to keep folks occupied. Let kids blow off some steam, have some entertainment. Yeah, it's not such a terrible thing. Willie also kept a good supply of esoteric and interesting drinks. Sheridan sipped from a warm mug of lightly spiced ibex blood. She'd chosen a booth in the deepest shadow at the back of the room, close to the back exit and away from the murderous mid-morning sun. She had a lot on her mind, and had crept away from her sire's lair to be alone with her thoughts. Well, mostly alone. A figure sidled up to her booth, glass in hand.
"What's a nice vampire like you doing in a place like this?"
Resisting the urge to snap at the newcomer, She looked up into a pair of green eyes, softly glowing with an inner light. The speaker was clearly a demon. She didn't recognize the type, but he looked mostly human, classically attractive, with patches of small orange scales on his cheeks and forehead. He wore human clothes, a business casual look, slacks, the shirt and tie. Probably a half-breed, she decided, rather than a full demon, able to hide his demonic aspect when convenient to pass among the mortals, much like herself. In answer to his question, she tapped a fingernail against her drink. "Topping up," she replied. "You?" He smiled.
Oh, circulating, networking. I'm new in town. Just portaled myself in a couple of hours ago.
He gestured to the empty seat, and Sheridan nodded, intrigued despite herself. He sat and put down his glass of frothing blue mist. "New in town, huh?" she asked. "Business or pleasure?"
Oh, strictly business. Although, hey, I've always wanted to visit the Sunnydale Hellmouth. Who doesn't, right?
He took a swig of his drink, paused to savor it.
See the sights, terrorize the locals, raise some hell. Rah!
His mock roar was deliberately lame, and Sheridan gave a weak smile. The green-eyed guy frowned a little.
Hey now, you okay? Looks like life's not all roses and bloodbaths of late, if you don't mind me saying. What's got you down? Maybe I can help.
"Maybe," she replied. "You heard of the Slayer?"
Well, sure. I did a little research before coming. I gather she's bad news.
"It's worse than that. Slayer's got a demon working alongside her now."
A traitor?
He blinked.
I've heard of this angel guy. Vampire with a soul.
Sheridan cut him off. "Not him. Somebody new. A girl. Real cute. Looks human when she wants to, so she can live among them and help fight monsters."
She looks human, you say? Does the Slayer know she's a demon? I heard Slayers were supposed to be able to spot demons, magically or something, but this latest one's not very talented that way.
Wow, this guy is quite well informed.
He's done his research.
Sheridan raised a brow. "That's a very good point. The girl's shown off her powers, but the one time I saw her trapped in demon form, she ran away from the Slayer,"
Could be a weakness.
ventured the guy.
I could be in a position to help you with this individual.
He slid a card across the table.
That business I mentioned. I might know somebody who knows somebody. That's what I do. Introductions.
Oh, missing a close quote there. Oh. Sheridan picked up the card, but kept her eyes on the guy opposite. "Go on."
You know how it is. Somebody's having trouble with a clan of Scrignar demons, so I put them in touch with a couple of Balkash bonewalkers, charge a small finder's fee. Everybody wins.
"Not the Scrignar." He shrugged.
Almost everybody wins. I win, and my clients win. Tell me more about this rogue demon.
"She's small, looks like a kid. Wings, tail, stubby horns." She touched her forehead to indicate the location. "About as fast as a vampire, but way, way stronger. Stronger than anything." He raised an eyebrow.
Now we could work around that, I'm sure. You said wings? Does she fly?
Traitor is a hilarious thing to imply when they aren't even on the same side in the first place. Well, there's factions among demons, and then there's like taking sides against humanity that all the demons just want to hate and prey on. So, not that I've seen, but she does have some kind of teleport trick.
Interesting. Some kind of spell? A ritual? Any idea of range?
Only seems to be short range, probably line of sight, but it's instant with no preparation, like blip, blip, blip. She really had the guy's attention now, and he fished out a leather-clad notebook. He grinned, his eyes glinting green in the dim light.
That's going to be tricky to get a handle on, but I'm sure there's a counterspell to block it. Any weaknesses that you know of? What have you tried so far? Sunlight? Herbs?
We tried holy water, admitted Sheridan with a shrug. The guy tilted his head, recognizing the danger that represented to a vampire like herself.
No joy, I take it.
Partial success. She burst into flames, her clothes burned away, and she lost some of her strength. She frowned. I think her disguise spell stopped working as well, but she could have dropped it deliberately. No way to be sure.
Burst into flames? Maybe the pain caused her to lose concentration. This is great. You say she lost some strength? How strong are we talking?
Sheridan grimaced. Maybe as strong as a vampire. Not a master, but still strong.
That's after the dousing? Wow, okay. And the teleportation trick?
Oh yes, she still had that. He frowned.
I've never heard of this combination of features and abilities. Could be at least one of her powers come from some kind of artifact.
Not unless she keeps it in her pants. Her clothes burned off. She wasn't wearing or carrying anything magical, I'm sure of it. He crossed out a line on his notebook.
Any tattoos? Markings? Brands?
Nothing. I got a pretty good look at the bitch, believe me.
Okay, well, I think we need to find out what she is before I try reaching out to my people. What much of a research team do you have?
A research team? Just me and my sire right now.
Ouch. Tough break.
In her opinion, ouch didn't even begin to cover it. Her own injuries were subtle torture, itching constantly as they healed, pulling her organs awkwardly whenever she moved or twisted just so. And her sire, the vaunted master vampire Keats, was a shuddering, vulnerable wretch, locked away in his chambers like a sullen teenager. It was funny how you never noticed some things until they were gone. But on reflection, Sheridan could keenly feel the change in her sire. Just the night before, he had demonstrated his power with contemptuous ease, silencing the rowdy pack of fledglings with a single venomous glare. But now, whatever power he'd held was all but gone, a shadow of itself. Previously, Keats had projected an aura of awesome willpower, pushing her thoughts toward fear and obedience. But now she felt nothing. If anything, she felt his fear. The devil girl had drained the mastery out of her sire and left him with ashes. Doubtless he would recover, given time. But by then she would be on a more even footing with her sire. No longer master and minion, he would have no choice but to recognize her talents. In fact, why did she need him at all? She treated her new friend with a broad smile. You never told me your name. I'm Sheridan Carter. With PE classes done for the day, Mickey changed back into her previous clothes and waited impatiently for the others to do likewise, before bouncing along behind Willow and Buffy on their way to their next class. Buffy was weirdly quiet the whole way, and when they got to the classroom she made a point of sitting a distance away from the imp, even though it meant avoiding Willow as well. Mickey decided she was probably annoyed at losing the dodgeball game earlier, or jealous that Mickey could run faster and climb ropes better, which wasn't really Mickey's fault. The big bad magic thing was really close, and she was pulling in loads of magical energy. She wished she knew where they were hiding it. But that Giles guy was trying to keep it secret. Luckily, he didn't seem to realize that Mickey knew it was down under the library somewhere. There had to be a secret way down there. But she wasn't good at finding secret doors unless they were magical. That was usually Jack's job, because of his superior senses and cunning sneakiness. Still, she could manage, given time. She had learned a lot from watching the wolf do stuff. If she could get into the library when Giles wasn't there, she was sure she could find the secret way down.
Miss Nichols?
She blinked and realized the teacher was trying to get her attention. She stuck her hand in the air. Yes? Hello, hi. He was an old man with white hair and a dusty brown suit. He gave her a little smile.
Yes, welcome. I was just talking to the class about geometry, and I thought I'd ask how much you know about triangles?
Mickey thought fast. Triangles were flat and pointy. 3 sides, 3 corners. Easy. She took a breath and got her thoughts in order. Triangles are the strongest of the shapes, she announced. If you see a thing that's made of straight lines, it's probably mostly triangles, or it'll fall down. The teacher made a face, but gave a small nod.
Fair enough. More of a physics answer than math, but very true all the same.
He resumed talking to the class, quickly rushing over some facts so Mickey could get up to speed, but most of it was meaningless number stuff. If there were 3 angles, how could they add up to more than 100? Wasn't that a whole lot? And who cared about putting numbers on how pointy the corners were? The puzzles he drew on the board all seemed to be complicated ways of being lazy. She grew frustrated at one point and stuck up her hand.
Miss Nichols, do you know the answer?
I was just wondering, if you already measured the size of those 2 sides, why didn't you measure the 3rd side while you were at it? Then you wouldn't have to ask us. The teacher blinked. Some of the kids laughed. Buffy rolled her eyes, and Willow put her forehead on the table. Apparently, she should keep her questions to herself. Numbers weren't her thing, and she was really glad when the alarm bell rang to signal the end. She teleported to the door and slipped out while the other kids put their stuff away. Yeah, the strongest of the shapes. Triangle Man beats Universe Man or something, right? Okay. Mickey was one of the first to the canteen, and quickly filled up her tray with mostly meat and a few colorful things that looked vegetable-ish. Meat was best, of course, but a varied and healthy diet was important. Even Jack ate vegetables occasionally, and he was a wolf. Mickey suspected he only did it to set a good example for her, but if he felt it was that important, she'd do it, when she remembered, if there was room on the tray. It was also important to blend in, and yesterday Willow had immediately noticed her all-meat meal choices. Apparently it was weird enough to notice, but not weird enough for her illusion to jump in and hide it. She'd have to watch out for things like that. She didn't know how long she was going to be stuck here, and she might eventually have to get a job in order to earn money. She would need to fit in and also find some employable skills. Neither was super easy for a devil, but she was clever and full of good ideas. For example, they didn't have proper superheroes in this world, but Mickey knew what she could do instead. She could be a fire person. She was pretty much immune to burning, could search a building really quickly and rescue people. She'd be really great at that, and if she got there too late, she could maybe nibble on a few of the cooked people, and nobody would really mind that much because of all her good work. In the meantime, she could be famous and popular for her awesome running and jumping skills. She quickly polished off most of her lunch and slipped a hamburger in her pocket for later. It was time to go exploring. Buffy desperately wanted to quiz Giles about Mickey, but she was also hungry, and her temper was already too close to fraying every time the imp showed up. So she trudged to the cafeteria with everybody else to stock up on calories. A hungry slayer was a grumpy slayer, and grumpy slayers weren't good at making peace with pint-sized incarnations of supernatural evil. Although, maybe it would be for the best if Mickey didn't turn up for dinner tonight. She was not looking forward to covering every silly mistake or nonsensical story the imp blurted out. And she hadn't even had a chance to explain that her nightly patrols were supposed to be a secret. She had doubts that the girl would keep quiet anyway. Buffy hadn't been very respectful regarding Mickey's secrets after all. On the other hand, Xander said Mickey had been a professional superhero, so surely she understood about secret identities. Although, how could that have worked? Mickey was a very noticeable freak of nature, and in that other world she didn't have a magical disguise, which meant no secret identity for Mickey the Imp. Her friends must have had secrets, though. They had code names, after all. Buffy knew there had been other heroes back there. She'd seen crudely drawn pictures on the wall that could only have been other super mutants, or whatever they called themselves. Willow caught her eye and pointed out Xander in the crowded room. Buffy nodded, partly to herself. She'd made up her mind. She needed to make peace with the imp. Besides, her mom would never forgive her if she ruined the evening by falling out with the guest. Mickey headed out to the running track to see if there were any obstacles or booby traps she hadn't noticed. It seemed unlikely that they'd just run around in circles to see who was best at it. Who'd want to watch that? She switched her clothes to a sporty crop top and short shorts so she'd blend in if there were other runners there. She even swapped her beloved boots for some trainers, decorated with little pink skulls, in case she got challenged to a race. But despite the people she saw on the benches, the track itself was devoid of runners. That was kind of weird and kind of awkward. Mickey didn't want to run full speed because she wasn't sure how fast normal kids were supposed to be able to go on this world. Most of the kids on the benches seemed to be eating and reading or talking, but they might notice all the same, so she set off at a steady jog, keeping an eye out for evidence of pit traps, dart launchers, and poison gas nozzles. She ran all the way around the track and found nothing of interest. Either there was nothing to find, or the traps were better hidden than she had expected. She turned to jog away from the track and slowed to a halt, hands on hips. Maybe she was wrong about the whole thing. She could ask somebody, but it might seem like a stupid question, and she didn't want to make a fool of herself. She needed to ask one of her friends, somebody who'd understand. Right on cue, Cordelia Chase arrived, followed by a dozen girls in matching costumes. Perfect.
I love seeing things from Mickey's point of view while she figures things out with her own kind of logic. There must be traps, otherwise it's boring.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter 30, Valley Girl. This might be the last one for me. Because I am, like Buffy, getting hungry. I was kind of, I kind of got off to a slow start this morning because after all the swimming and walking yesterday, I was pretty sore and I slept real hard. But I kind of dragged myself out of bed right around the time that we normally get streaming and didn't get myself fed. To be fair, obstacle courses are a thing. There aren't like lethal traps like poison gases, but there are various things to jump over and climb over and avoid, yeah. Alright, chapter 30 is called Valley Girl. Cordelia and the other girls wore matching outfits, tiny tops and short skirts in colors of blood and mustard. Cordelia led them down to the side of the running track, talking all the while in her clear, strident tone, and they began doing a bunch of stretching exercises. Mickey willed some extra power into her everything is normal illusion and crept over to a good vantage point at the top of the benches. It looked like Cordelia was the boss of some kind of sports team, one composed entirely of girls with really good legs. They didn't seem to need much in the way of equipment, just some bottled drinks and some kind of noisy tasseled things, which they handed out until everybody had 2 each. Cordy barked some instructions, clearly nominating her lieutenants, and the girls split up into groups. There was a bit of shouting and chanting, lots of "hey" and "go, go, go," accompanied by high kicks and the occasional cartwheel. Mickey grew impatient. What were they doing, and when were they going to get to the point? Confusing minutes passed, and Cordelia called a stop to the warm-up, or whatever it was, to organize the next stage of their activity. She grouped the girls up so she could address them all, and spelled out a long and complex plan that Mickey couldn't make out. A shouted command was the signal to begin, and the girls quickly arranged themselves in a line. A short countdown, a yell of "Go!" and they started something. Some kind of dance? "Give me an R!" yelled one girl, and the others waved their tassel things and yelled back, "R!" "Give me an A!" Another shape, another yell back. Some kind of ritual, realized Mickey, or even a spell. Not one she knew, but the sounds they were chanting were letters, nice and slow so she could try to make sense of it. So far she had Ra, which was a start. She listened and dug for a notebook to make notes. Give me an N, give me a Y, give me an A. Wait, no. Finally, after a ridiculous number of letters, Cordelia stepped out of line and demanded of nobody in particular, "What do you get?" Mickey looked at her page. She had Ra, then Zorbak, then Chaos, which made no sense at all. Luckily, the girls must have known the spell was too complicated, because they filled in their own puzzle with an ever louder yell, "Razorbacks!" Mickey frowned and quickly amended her notes. Interesting. Meanwhile, the girls went crazy and launched into a sequence of leaps and spins and rolls, all carefully choreographed with lots of bouncing and flexing. It looked kind of fun, but she couldn't quite see what the pattern was or what kind of creature a razorback was. Apparently something dangerous or unpleasant, as most of the chanting was a demand for it to go somewhere. Pretty standard imprecation against evil. The sequence eventually broke down and the girls all started doing their own thing. A high-energy chaos of bouncing teenage girls. Mickey decided Jack would have enjoyed the display, and maybe she could learn some of the moves to entertain him with when he eventually showed up. As the group's energy fizzled out, individual girls broke away and went to grab bottles of drink. Cordelia moved among them, presumably offering words of advice and wisdom. Mickey stood up and made her way down the steps to congratulate them on what she assumed was a successful ritual, although she hadn't been able to sense any magic. Perhaps it was just a practice run. They probably did the real stuff at night, in the nude or something, under a full moon. "Heads up," muttered one girl, spotting her approach. "New kid at 12 o'clock. Several heads looked her way, and Mickey gave them a friendly wave. "Oh, God," hissed another. "You don't think she wants to try out for the squad?" She sounded part amused and part nervous. Mickey was often surprised for the things people would say when they didn't know you had really good hearing, but Jack said it was often best to ignore stuff like that. Instead, she fixed her smile in place and concentrated on looking friendly and harmless. "That was really cool," she said once she was in normal speaking range. "What do you call it?" The nearest girl gave her a dirty look. Cheerleading?" "Don't be mean, Amber," interjected a second girl. "Maybe they don't have cheerleading in Europe." "That's stupid. Of course they do. Everybody has cheerleading." Mickey shrugged, none the wiser, and Cordelia moved to join the conversation. "At least Mikisha recognizes art when she sees it." She turned her attention to Mickey directly. "And thank you. It's nice to be appreciated." "I bet it takes a lot of practice," ventured the imp. "Some of the moves look really hard." It seemed a safe way to hide the fact that she had no idea what they had been doing. "Physical fitness is important," agreed Cordy. "We train as much as the teams we're supporting." Aha, a clue. They were a support squad for somebody else. That would explain the lack of magic during the ritual. Mickey nodded to show she understood, but kept her thoughts to herself as the girls started walking back across the field toward the school. Apparently they would now shower and change before classes resumed for the afternoon. A pretty, dark-skinned girl sidled up alongside the imp as they walked. I heard you played dodgeball this morning. Beat Summers at our own game. Mickey shrugged. I think I won, but I got hit in the face first, so it feels like I lost. I heard you had some good moves, though, like an acrobat. Mickey noticed some of the other girls listening in while pretending they weren't. Was this a test? Some kind of social thing? She slowly nodded. I'm pretty good at dodging stuff, yeah? Another girl with blonde braids took a big sidestep and blocked Mickey's path. What else can you do? Can you do a handstand? The question seemed innocent, but her body language was confusingly aggressive. Mickey blinked. You mean bouncing? Yeah, I can do that. The girl stepped back. Go on then, show us. Mickey glanced at Cordy, but the tall girl's expression was unreadable, so she decided to try the test, whatever it was. No problem. Which hand? Blonde girl's predatory grin faltered a little. Either? I don't mind. So Mickey leaned over and planted her left hand on the ground, flipped herself upside down, and held the position for several seconds. Want me to walk on them as well? I can do that, but not, very fast. No, that's, pretty good. I've seen enough. She turned to walk away. Mickey spread her legs and used a scissor kick to flip herself back onto her feet, earning some gasps from those still watching. She flashed Cordelia a smirk, knowing that only Cordy would have been able to see her using her wings and tail for additional balance and spin. There were natural advantages of being somewhat unnatural, after all. She tried a few more compliments to break the silence as they walked. I really enjoyed the parts with the words. It was educational. That's so not the point, drawled somebody in response. She decided to press on. Okay, I'm not really chuckling the next bit. I like the part when you spelled out gods. That was a tricky one.
That's an Easter egg.
Oh, we didn't do that. That's not a word. Oh, well, something like that. I haven't quite mastered word spellings yet. I bet the boys like it, though. You all look really pretty. She watched carefully for the girls' reactions, and it seemed her compliments were finally having an effect. You do let boys watch, right? Come on, Woo-quads. Yeah. Well, I mean, she's certainly unnatural to this earth, yeah. Razorbacks are dangerous, but they're also cute, so don't banish them. Not seen a cheerleader in person in your entire life. Well, yeah, you are in Europe, right? I don't know I don't watch a lot of German sports either. Like, what sort of entertainment on the sidelines is part of like soccer or whatever?
Managers screaming at each other.
Managers screaming at each other. Okay. Buffy was quite relieved. Oh, go ahead.
I am so glad somebody got the strong bad reference. That has made my day. Thank you,
Oh,
Yuzu.
okay. So it's Vuhukwagat. So that's something from Strong Bad. Okay, gotcha. Cute. Buffy was quite relieved to see Giles emerging from his office as she led Xander and Willow into the library. She winced as the doors slammed open. She hadn't meant to push that hard. She grumbled to herself about stupid imp-frazzled Slayer instincts.
Buffy, do come in, and why not demolish the place while you're at it?
She managed a weak smile. Sorry, I just,
Mickey vibes are making our Slayer cranky.
Xander pointed out, stepping past.
Killer instincts aren't so great with the making nice.
Giles frowned.
Ah, well, much as I applaud those instincts in most cases, perhaps it might be useful to suppress them in this instance.
He saw Buffy was about to protest and cut her off.
Much as we would for, say, Angel, who is no less a monster than Makisha?
Willow looked worried. Plus, there's the whole guess who's coming for dinner thing, too? Yeah. Buffy seized the new angle of attack. What's with that? Did she put a whammy on my mom?
Only in the most rudimentary fashion.
Replied Giles.
She was polite, friendly, and appeared harmless. Your mother said you'd mentioned an exchange student?
Buffy groaned. Oh, God, I did, didn't I? I think I may even have been the one to put the idea in her head. She probably thinks Mickey's all disadvantaged or something. Xander pulled out a chair and sat down.
She's here all alone and lives in a hole. She's got no money, can't read, and without a magic spell she looks like a monster. That's pretty darn disadvantaged.
I know she's having a hard time, and I like her, I really do. But she's a demon, or devil, or whatever. It's hard to stay neutral when every fiber of my being knows she's evil somehow. Even when she's good, it's like she's made of evil. Xander frowned.
You don't seem to have this problem with Angel.
My Slayer sense didn't even recognize him as a vampire when we first met. This is something different. Giles polished his glasses.
Maybe it's because Makisha is more pure, for want of a better word. A vampire is, after all, a half-breed. A demon hiding within a human corpse. Miss Nichols, meanwhile, is a literal creature of the abyss, and while I feel I should be professionally opposed to letting her run loose, the research opportunities this presents are immense. Furthermore, I can't help but wonder if she might make a powerful ally.
Willow gave a tentative nod. She is more than happy to fight the good fight. Xander chipped in.
Bad guy's gotta be smushed. Yes, quite. And also she goes to the same school and could theoretically move in the same circles as the rest of you, providing ready backup. She has no parents to interfere with her patrolling schedule, and if need be, she can blend in among the demonic denizens to gather information.
Buffy pulled a face. Plus, she hits like a Mack truck.
She knows valuable techniques and seems happy to share. Perhaps, in exchange, you three might help her learn to pass more easily as human, and rely less on her illusion.
Buffy bit her lip. I guess I could learn to focus a little while she's around. Might hone my Slayer sense or something.
So,
There's just the tiny evil of a tiny issue of an evil creature in town who wants to steal the Hellmouth. Giles put his glasses back on.
I think we can agree that mustn't be allowed to happen. We can probably also agree that the very idea is preposterous.
Xander shrugged.
Well, if anyone can do it, it'll be Mickey.
Buffy nodded. She's charging herself up using Hellmouth energy, same as the vamps do, but turned up to 11. Who knows what her limits are? Willow took a step forward, getting everybody's attention. Do we even know what she means by steal the Hellmouth? Maybe she just wants to drain all the magic out of it. If she could even weaken it by a significant amount, that would help us, right? Like, it would weaken all the monsters out there, and it might even be possible to close it. She turned to Giles. Could that be possible?
I honestly have no idea. I'd be rather more concerned with what might happen to Makisha should she attempt to harness that much evil magic. It's a well-known fact that power corrupts, and inherently evil power is substantially more dangerous. Who knows what would become of her?
Buffy grimaced. Pretty sure she'd be chock full of evil and way more than we could handle. Giles let out a sigh.
Well, yes, perhaps you could talk her out of it over an evening meal.
That might be difficult, she said scathingly. on account of my mom being there?
I would recommend subtlety, but I doubt Makisha is receptive to hints.
Buffy gave a bitter smile. Yeah, she is refreshingly direct. Walking back to class, Willow pulled Buffy aside and let Xander walk ahead. You didn't tell Giles about the dead human last night, she began. Or the holy water guns. Buffy grimaced. Yeah, I don't know what to say, or where to start with the saying. We need to pin Mickey down and get some facts out of her. I was meaning to ask this morning, but then this thing with my mom. Willow nodded sympathetically. It's been quite a morning. I get the impression this is going to be the new normal with Mickey in town. Oh, come on. I'm sure she'll calm down once she settles in a little. Buffy scowled. We need to find Sheridan and her creepy boss. I know they're out there, but since that first ambush at the Bronze, they've left me alone. Did I mention she was here at the school last night? Yeah, just very much of the Wiggins, because why? And also because maybe they found what they were after, and that can only be bad. Buffy gave her friend a look. They were looking for info on Mickey, I'm sure of it. Good thing she doesn't have a home address on file. Willow chuckled. She did put it on the application form. Giles translated it. Xander chuckled.
I guess. I'm thinking hell. Was it hell?
Outer Ring, 8th plane. Buffy stopped walking. Uh-huh. What? Uh-huh? The Slayer narrowed her eyes. She told us she was from the Middle Ring. I remember because she said something about a valley of teeth. Willow stared, impressed. You remembered that? At the time, I was thinking it was funny, because it means technically she's a valley girl. But it means she lied about where she came from. Willow thought back to a conversation with Xander and wondered how bad must the truth be if pretending to be a devil is a better option. Mickey spotted Willow and Buffy heading into a classroom and slipped in with the other students. The room inside was full of computers, spread around the room on round tables. There were 3 computers on each table, so the kids sat in little circles, which felt sort of occulty to Mickey's peculiar senses. She realized at the start that she recognized the teacher. It was the pretty lady from the library, with the dark hair and the Romanian uncle. Miss Nichols, called the teacher, welcome to IT 101. Mickey gave a little wave in return. Thanks. Do I just sit anywhere? The teacher gave her a little smile. Oh no, I don't think so. Just wait over there while everybody gets settled and I'll come and get you sorted. Jenny kept
I loved writing.
What's that?
I loved writing this.
Okay. Jenny kept a watchful eye on the new girl as the students went through the regular motions involved in starting a class. Missing files, forgotten passwords, misplaced homework assignments, and the countless petty squabbles of the young and foolish. She handled it all with practiced ease, while the diminutive stranger stood looking at the walls, studying the posters. There was something weird about her. Not least the way her gaze lingered on the pictures, but barely even glanced at the posters of the text. Interesting. Mr. Giles had unwittingly set a puzzle, and Jenny Calendar loved to unravel a puzzle. She beckoned the girl over and directed her to a computer set up by itself out of the way. Jenny used this one for private lessons away from the main group. She winced as Mickey scraped the chair legs noisily across the floor. I get to play on computers? For real? She kicked her legs with excitement, and Jenny fought back a smirk. There'll be no playing games today. This is a school, and this class is strictly educational. The girl wasn't deterred in the least. You mean I get to learn how to play with computers? Close enough. Jenny's hands danced across the keyboard. She entered her personal credentials and then unlocked her own personal work area, copying a couple of files into a temporary guest account. I'll get your account set up while you work through some exercises for me, okay? Right. Something in the girl's expression made it clear she had no idea what was happening. Jenny sighed and opened up a spreadsheet. I want you to answer these questions as accurately as you can. It's important so I can get you set up on the system. Right. The girl looked at the screen. My name? That's easy. I'm Mickey. What's next? Use the keyboard? You need to type your answers into the corresponding cells. Look, move the active cell like this. These arrow keys control where you type. You try. The girl frowned at the keyboard. I've seen people do this. The buttons make the letters I want, right? So... She scanned the keyboard left to right, top to bottom, and of course the letter M was the very last one. Aha! She jabbed it with a fingertip and let out a squeak of excitement when the letter dutifully appeared on the screen. Jenny patted her on the shoulder. Okay, you're doing great. I'm going back to my desk. Just raise your hand if you have any questions. Hunt and poke. Let's go. All right. And that concludes Chapter 30. We know VTubers love round numbers, so we'll close there and begin 31 next week. Next chapter is called Questions and Answers. Simple enough.
Just a heads up, chapters 32, 33, and 34 are written by Mickey.
Ah, yes, we're coming up on that, huh?
And chapter 31 is Mickey being annoying in IT class.
Ah, the whole class. Okay. Did you misremembering something? Was her English ability based in magic? She's got some very rudimentary skills there.
She can recognize some of the shapes.
Well, Adelath, you didn't get to say very much today, but this was a productive session, I think. Well, I did get to needle you about your long-distance partner's bikini, so I'll take it. Right. On that note, anything else you would like to say before we wind things down, John?
No.
Okay. We are on next week?
I believe so. Yes.
Sounds good then. Until then, my friends, live with honor, and your heart is unassailable. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. Watch me build another life, find another space, explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind, hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score, we've been here once before. So many words unspoken, you took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go. It's a new adventure. On the new adventure. You'll find me dancing on my own, nowhere to be, nowhere to go. In the rhythm, I don't think of you. Don't call me up when you're feeling blue. You'll find me dancing on my own, nowhere to be, nowhere to go. In the rhythm, I don't think of you. Let me go. It's a new adventure. On the new adventure.